South America to Central America. I want to show you a different case, because it's not only a geographical difference, but also a chronological difference, the one that you will show, the one that you will see now. Probably you all know where Panama is, and probably you also know why Panama is famous. Maybe you think it's about the canal, yeah, that's a point. Or maybe you are very rich and you have a lot of money invested, let's say, in Panama. Or maybe you know, what is this? That is actually not Panamanian, it's Equatorian. But anyway, it's famous because it's called Panama Hub. So, but do you know why they have the coin that is called Balboa? Or why they drink this beer that it's called also Balboa? It's like the most famous beer in the country. That I don't think it's very good. It's okay. So we have to go back in history, but we have to go back to actual the colonial history, the last 500 years. So in the 1513, Núñez de Balboa. Now that you can guess why it's Balboa, this name so important in Panama, arrived to the Pacific Ocean and what it's called Mar del Sur. So they say, okay, this is a different thing, this is an ocean. And in 1519, Pedro Arias de Ávila, Pedro Arias, who was the governor of the so-called Castilla de Oro, they had already established a settlement in nowadays Colombia, in Santa Maria de la Antigua del Darién. That was the first settlement in the continent. Decided that it was not the best place to be and moved the city to the shore of the Pacific, to Panama, nowadays Panama City. Well, actually, they found there was a native village there. Apparently they established it over there, and nowadays we unfortunately don't find many remains about this pre-existent place in Panama City. So very soon, Panama flourished as one of actually the largest port in the Pacific. And it was because there was at that time there was something called forgotten in Spanish. Carrera de Indias. I was about to translate it and didn't go out. So anyway, so Carrera de Indias was the monopolistic trade between the Iberian Peninsula, between the Spanish crown and the American colonies. So Panama had a very strategic location. It was just in the Pacific, and the isthmus that connects the Caribbean and the Pacific is very narrow. So therefore they arrived to Portobello and Puerto de Dios and other places in the area. So with the ships, traded with the Caribbean possessions, and just walk the isthmus with all the goods transported by the royal pathway, the Camino Real, from the Caribbean to the Pacific and right to Panama City, and then they traded all the goods to Lima, Mexico, or other places in the Pacific shore. So therefore, it was a bustling city. So it had a lot of wealth. Well, as you can see, Panama Viejo is a typical, shows the typical early colonial urbanism. So it's a very ordered city, let's say. So it has this grid oriented to the cardinal points, and it had a very main central square, and also different blocks with houses and religious architecture. So it's interesting, the religious architecture, because even it's a quite small city, it had a lot of religious buildings. At the time, in the 16th century, they had, I believe, more than 9 buildings. So convents, 7 convents, 2 hermitages, 1 cathedral, and on the other side, the military architecture is not so, it doesn't show off. It's not important. So they only had a small fort. That's one of the problems they faced because of this. So nowadays we only see this site, that is the Panama Viejo archaeological site, that is a UNESCO protected area, and has only 28 hectares instead of the 60 that it used to have. So, as you can see, this is the archaeological park, and we have different places like this convent, the Monjas de la Concepción. That is what you can see. But there are still quite you can see many monuments standing. So, and you can imagine, well, nowadays it's everything is clean. But 100 years ago, you can imagine this brings the memories of this romantic idea of archaeology, with these buildings collapse somehow, and palm trees and the mangroves, all these things, and the jungle that is, eating the site, literally. Well, nowadays it's more organic. So because the cathedral, that is the most important monument, the most important building, let's say, or icon. And different houses, the Casas Terrin, that there were a civil place for people to live. They rent houses and they face the main square. So, and in this case, this is the Fuerte Natividad, the Nativity Fort, that is on the western part of the city, and this was one of the main forts. And as you can see, the city itself is not walled, so it's almost they only had a couple forts and towers to defend, to protect the city. So actually, it was not well defended, and you will see why this is important. So as I said, this is one of the main buildings, the Casas Terrin, and it was founded in the 1600, and is actually a block of houses. And I'm showing these places because all these places are the ones where we collected samples for the study that I'm showing you later. And then also the Convento de Santo Domingo. The Convento de Santo Domingo, that it was established in the 1571, rebuilt in the early 17th century, and it was abandoned in 1671. And it was abandoned because of fire, because there was a fire. And it was a fire, it was not something random that happened. It was a fire because of this handsome guy. This guy, depending on who you ask to, is portrayed as a pirate, if you ask an Spaniard, or the Spaniard fonts, or a buccaneer, or a hero, or even, I think it was a very important person for the English, for the English in this case. So you can see there is portrayed in different movies. So there are a lot of literature and folklore about the figure of this guy. He was a pirate, and what interesting, this Henry Morgan guy conquered the city of Panama, set it on fire in 1671. Some, especially the British, or this black legend, say that it was actually the Spaniards who set the city on fire. It could be true, I don't know. it's up to you to decide. Well, anyway, 2 years later, so the city was destroyed, completely destroyed and abandoned. So 2 years later, they decided to move the remains of the city, to move the people, and because it was still a very important location, to move to a new place, and that it offers a more strategic area and safer, of course. So they move it like a few kilometers southwest only, and they built what is now called Casco Antiguo, so the old quarter. Actually, it's not the oldest quarter. Okay. So, and they wall the city, and they put these walls with these star-shaped military constructions to defend the city, and is obviously now offers a very well defense, and it was not conquered again. So we can see this orthogonal grid, typical of 17th century, 18th century Spanish cities in America. So there was something before the Spaniards' arrival. Yes, of course. Unfortunately, the construction in the place, in the whole place, not only because of the Spanish foundation, but also because of the 20th century urban development, is massive. So we don't have many evidences in the area, in Panama City region. But we are lucky enough to find in the outskirts of the archaeological park, in the Morelos Park, actually, they found a pre-Spanish settlement. So we have evidences of houses, these stone foundation houses. Probably they are quite they are not very monumental. So they are referred to be as probably fisherman village. In other areas of Panama Viejo, they have been also found this type of pottery, this type of Grandary and culture pottery. As you can see, the most typical ones are these pots, jars, bottles. In some occasion, so only 1%, 1.2% of the whole set of ceramics recovered, they were painted or decorated. So like this type of animal-shaped pottery. I'm not sure which kind of animal. It looks like these aquatic birds. I don't know. It's my guess. So, as I said, we have these sets, mainly composed of cooking wares, domestic wares, and pots, plates. So, wares for storing food or cooking food. So that's the main collection. If we move now to the colonial period, we see that there are another type of pottery. So we don't only have the pre-Hispanic pottery, but also and the colonial pottery, but also we found something that is called criollo pottery, Creole pottery. So archaeologists thought that they must be local because the pastes, the ceramics, the colors, even some of the shapes are similar to the pre-Hispanic ones. However, they also think as well that they are somehow related to the Creole population. So people that were enslaved in Africa and traded, enslaved in America. So moved to America, moved to Panama, and they eventually lived there. And they were producing pottery for their own consumption. So that's one of the ideas. So this is one of the questions. Are these Creole potteries local or are these potteries produced somewhere else and brought to Panama City to be consumed. So interestingly, we found this type of pottery not only in Panama Viejo but also in the new city in Cascon. So there is a continuation of the use of these pots, and we'll see what we can guess about it. Another point of interest, at least for me, is that these ceramics, the shapes at some point they also show clear Spanish influence. So in this case, for instance, the ones that are in the circle, in the red circle, they are very similar to the porringers, to the escudillas, to the Spanish porringers. They have these handles, and there are also another type of shapes that also resembles the Spanish ones, the typical colonial Spanish ceramics. So there is this syncretism, not only in technology, but also in shapes, in forms, not in decoration. Because decoration, that's another thing. That's another thing that I wanted to tell you today. We have these marks, like these cross marks or these points, and these are related. Well, these can be related, or apparently the literature says that these decorations can be related to scarification. So scarifications are body garments made in the skins. So they and who made this? Well, many people in the world, many cultures, but at that moment, the ones that are more suspect to do this are the people that were slaves in the West Africa, in different areas in the West Africa. So there are different cultures in West Africa, in Africa in general, but in the West Africa are the most related to this area, who perform these activities, these decorations. And there is an interesting work. This one is in Portuguese, but I'm sure it can be read. That is, it's about the slavery and sugar mill factories in Brazil, in the Mato Grosso. The only thing is, this work is about, or is chronologically framed in the 18th, 19th centuries. So we are talking 2 centuries before. So in Panama is earlier. So, but the interesting thing is they have many written reports about the origin of the slave people, like post-mortem inventories, list of trade, many other things, and these communities during in the plantations, in the sugar mills, factories, they produce pottery for their own consumption, and they trade pottery among themselves. So we have, for instance, the market. This is an engraving showing a market slave in the 19th century in Brazil. But we can see here there are different pots, and these pots are decorated, and these decorations somehow resemble to these scarification practices. We have the same. We have different. Well, this is even later. This is from the 19th century, because we have some photographies, not only drawings, and we can see there are some decorations in the pots that are similar to the scarification practices of different group of people. So we are talking about identities. So somehow they relate, well, in this case this author relates these scarifications, that the ones that are performed by specific groups of people, specific cultures, like the Yoruba from Nigeria, to these decorations, to the one that is up in the picture, right, upper right, or the one from the Mozambique, or the one from, what is this one, from the Ovimbundu, I believe it's near Angola. It's Angola. So, can we do the same in Panama? Can we correlate these decorations to groups of people? So, unfortunately, it's not easier. And I mean, the other study had a lot of documentation. We don't have that. Why? Because of Henry Morgan, because they sacked the city and destroyed almost all the records from that period in Panama. I mean, there must be others, but needs to be found. And the same. I don't want to sweet the study because this is something that we are starting to do. We'll see where we end up. But I mean, it's very difficult because these decorations are simple decorations. I mean, they are not so clear, the connection, the link between the scarification practices, the type of scarification, and the type of decorations. So, we'll see. This is something that I just want to tell you that can be interesting to carry out, but it's ongoing, and we'll see. Hopefully, in a couple of years, we'll go back here and say, okay, yeah, I see, or no, don't do it because it's useless. We'll see. So, last thing that I'm working on is the Majolica production. Majolica is a typical modern era ceramic. It has this glaze decoration. It's usually this glaze is made out of lead and silica and tin, and has different decorations made out of oxide, different pigments. Okay, here in France, I believe it's called faience. In Spain, it's called Majolica. Delaware in the Netherlands. So we have a lot of different names for the same thing. Okay, so and there was a production in Panama. So we had some suspicious about the production in Panama because the first archaeological works describe some remains that were some kilns that may produce these ceramics, but they were destroyed. And we don't have written evidence about this, about the organization of the potters in Panama. In other places, like in Seville or in Lisbon, or in many other places, in Barcelona, for instance, these potters at that time were organized in guilds, and these guilds were the ones who provided all the raw materials to the potters. So therefore, they were organized. They had a lot of documents because they argued all the time. So they had to go to the court. So we have a lot of evidences. But nothing here. Until recently, until 8 years ago, already, they found remains of 2 kilns, and these kilns are the last evidence of this type of pottery production. So, what are our questions? We want to know if we can confirm the Majolica production in Panama. I mean, we have kilns. They were producing Majolica or other things. We don't know. So we want to know that. Maybe for the pre-Hispanic things, did local pre-Hispanic potting tradition influence somehow the criollo or the Majolica production? So we have the same clays, or can we see other things? And also, did the destruction of the city implies a disruption in the production? So they were producing something, and when the city was destroyed and relocated to another place, did they change anything? Did they have to move somewhere else for another type of clays because the clays were somewhere else? I don't know. So that's another question. And so what is our methodology? So we perform chemical analysis using neutron activation analysis. and microtexture analysis using scanning electron microscopy. So neutron activation analysis is a very well-known technique. It's a very traditional technique. Is very robust, provides many trace elements, but the only drawback is that you need a nuclear reactor. That's a tiny drawback. So there are not many in the world that are nuclear reactors that are dedicated to scientific analysis. So in this case, this one is in Missouri, in the United States, and well, has a long tradition of archaeometric analysis, so we were able to use that. So we analyzed many samples, majolica shards. We included kiln furniture. Kiln furniture are, for instance, these ceramics, since they have this glaze on top, if you put one pot touching the other, they would stick together. So you have to throw it away. So you put them into boxes using like nails to support, to keep it separated, or trivets, what is called 3 feet or star-shaped tools for the same idea, separating them, the different glaze faces. We included samples from Panama Viejo and also from Casco Antiguo, from both sides, both areas, just to see if there is a continuation in the technology or there is a thing. And criollo pottery and pre-Hispanic pottery. And also, we added some ceramics from the Convento de Santo Domingo to know if these ceramics are from Seville, they were produced in Seville, or they were produced in Panama, or produced in Peru and traded somewhere else. Well, that's one of the questions. Well, this is the summary of the analysis we have of the pre-Hispanic and criollo pottery. So we can see that some of the so we identify a pre-Hispanic group. Probably is the local one. We still have to probably do some petrography to eventually find out the exact region, but it looks like the local one because of the different features they show, and it matches also some of the criollo pottery. So we can identify that there are at least one group that is local. So the pre-Hispanic was producing in the vicinity at least, and the criollo population, the Creole population, were also producing ceramics in this site, in Panama Viejo or in the area at least. Well, interestingly, the same ceramics, the Creole ceramics from Panama Viejo, from the 16th, 17th century, are exactly the same. They show the same composition as the Casco Antiguo Creole ceramics. So there is a continuation in the ceramic industry or ceramic tradition among the Creole population. Regarding the majolica, well, we can identify that there is a clear, distinct chemical group that is related to Panama, to the Panamanian group. We have evidences of kiln furniture because, and this is so there is an evidence of local production because the kiln furniture is made with local clays. You don't go somewhere else to you don't trade with these things. Okay, so we have the Panamanian group that is very distinctive, and regarding the tiles from the Convento de Santo Domingo, we can say they are civilian. So in this case, we are comparing, we are trying to match reference groups with unknown samples. So if they come together, they are the same. If they are separated, they are different things. And well, the same, we compare the chemical fingerprint of the Panamanian majolica with other places with other reference groups, and obviously they are different. So we can confirm there is a local distinctive production. In this case, I mean, this is a silly thing, but we can see how the Panamanian ceramics are usually non-calcareous ceramics, so they have very low lime content, while the typical Spanish colonial ceramic is very calcareous. So one shows red pastes, while the other ones show very buff, creamy, whiter pastes. Okay, and it is important, and you will see why. So this is another example using only the values of calcium. Okay, you can see, and this is important. Why is it important? Because the glaze, this majolica, as I told you that they use this glaze. This glaze is white, usually is white, and to become white, they added tin oxides. So cassiterite, one mineral. This mineral, this tin, what creates is a reflection of the light inside the glaze. Therefore, you get a very white, opaque glaze, and it's like a canvas, and you paint on top. You add your decoration, the one that you prefer, your motifs, whatever you want, in different colors. So if you use a buffer, whiter, creamy, pink, I don't have more synonyms, adjectives, to this paste, you don't have to use as much tin. You can reduce the amount of tin. If you have a very red paste, the color of this reddish paste may go through the glaze, and you get something not as white as you want. So you get it. That's why here the Spanish ceramics in this plot is they are this trend light in red, I believe. They show less tin. They have less tin because the paste was white. While the Panamanian ceramics, because the pastes are very red, they needed to add a lot of tin. Okay. So they were more expensive. Another thing that I can show you is the difference. So the difference between Panama Viejo and Casco Antiguo. I've told you that there is no difference in the chemical composition. So they were using the same clays, more or less the same clays. They show the same chemical fingerprint. So we don't see any difference studying the paste. But if we take a look to the glaze, we can see differences. You can see a difference between the older ones and the newer ones. So, can you tell? On the left one, you can see the left side, you can see that there are almost no inclusions. It's almost just one grain here, one grain over there. Okay, but on the right ones, you can see a lot of inclusions. The glazes are packed with stones. Okay, and why they are packed with stones? Because they serve the same purpose. They also were diffracting the light and more or less achieving the same white, the same glaze white. And it is related to a moment of scarcity of tin and the problems with trade between Spain and the Caribbean and America, because the end of the 17th century, early 18th century, Spain was almost fighting to everyone. So there were some problems in trading tin, metals, whatever. Okay, and this is a reflection of this moment. So they are trying to add. So they are trying to this word now that is resilience, right? So they are trying to overcome these problems and adapting to new things. So instead of using tin, okay, let's put other things in addition to tin. So, and what other things are? Well, mainly quartz, and feldspaths, we can see silica, we can see aluminium, and if I show you potassium, you will see. Okay. So, final remarks, hopefully I'm on time. So we can see there is a continuation of local clays and also the same chain operatoire from the place panning to criollo ceramics. So even they change shapes, even they change probably functions because they were not eating the same food. Okay, we see different type of shapes. You remember open shapes with handles, with necks and other type of handles, and carenations or lines that we didn't see in the pre-spanning ones. The clays are almost the same, and the type and the production is very similar. So we see the continuation of these clays as well. For the Majorca production, there is no disruption between the two periods, between the Panama Viejo and the Casco Antiguo for the Majorca. Okay, so the destruction of the city did not actually disrupt, at least significantly, the production of Majorca pottery or the criollo pottery. So it keeps the same network. What we see is differences in technology. Why? Because I told you about the scarcity of metals, and also because there are other people doing it. Okay, and we can see, studying the glaze, we can see. So we study the paste and say, okay, this is Panamanian, but we don't know if it's old or new Panamanian. Okay, but if we take a look to the glaze, we can tell. We can guess quite well if it's an old one from Panama Viejo or it's a new one from the Casco Antiguo. So we can put a chronology to this piece, and it is important. So thank you so much, merci beaucoup, and thank you to the organizers for holding me here. And if you have any questions, Muchas gracias.
Alors, qui pose une question en espagnol ou en anglais? En fait, on a un très bel exemple de nouveau d'usage de certaines techniques archéométriques, mais pour arriver à répondre à des questions de circulation, de production, etc. Je pense que là, ça illustre assez bien. Sur un site important, c'est vrai, on est en Amérique centrale, à Panama, pourquoi pas. Mais Javier Iñañez travaille aussi sur d'autres espaces, sur certaines îles en particulier entre l'Espagne et le Brésil. Je dis ça comme ça. Parce que comme on a aussi un programme en commun, ça pourra faire l'objet d'un sujet de stage certainement, ou cette année, ou l'année prochaine. Vous voyez, ça ouvre des pistes. Je dis ça comme ça. Un peu au hasard, pas vraiment. I was just saying that it may open new internships on topics of research for young researchers, probably, because this gentleman is also having some archaeological excavation in some of the islands, not too far from Spain. Quite far.
Well,
quite far.
Yeah. I have a project for excavating the first Portuguese colonial settlement in Cabo Verde. Yeah. So, and we had the first campaign, and you are more than welcome to join us.
Could be a possibility. We'll see. We'll probably talk of it later after the afternoon. Okay. Voilà. Est-ce que donc ça vous interpelle ou pas spécialement? Actually, you mentioned some tiles.
Yeah. The tiles.
About the tiles, and maybe I missed a few things. Were you saying that they were produced in Spain?
Yeah.
In Sevilla?
In Sevilla.
That's what I understood actually.
Yeah,
okay.
These ones.
Yeah, but they were found in the Santo Domingo?
In Panama.
In Panama, so they clearly were...
Yeah.
moved.
So they were moved to,
Yeah, okay.
were traded, and from Seville they were produced in Seville. Usually for this conventional trade or conventional productions, someone hired them, and actually, well, because we have documentation, style. We have documented the style. No, we don't have a document say someone bought 4,000 tiles to that place. No, but we know that probably it's from Hernando Valladares, that he was a very famous potter in Seville at the time, and the style is, well, it looks like his style, and chemically the paste is completely from Seville. It's completely different than the Panamanian one, and yeah, and actually the same happens in Lima. In Lima there is also the Convento de Santo Domingo, and the tiles that are covering the facades and the oysters and the things are coming from Seville. From Panama.
From Panama.
Yeah. So they were traded. They were produced in Panama and traded to Lima. So
circulation of materials.
Yeah, circulation of materials
of final objects.
Yeah,
in that case.
Yeah, and this moment has been called the first globalization. I mean, it's not the first globalization, but it's the most intense, or the beginning of the most intense globalization. So really is connecting a lot of regions that are very far away.
And the important thing I wanted just to add, because you were attending, I was attending a jury of PhD defense in last May actually, it wasn't far away. You were one of the directors with Jaume Buxeda in Barcelona. You were one of the...
I wasn't the committee.
You were. And that was about the production of tiles from Sevilla, mainly. And I mean, the lady who did the job, she really set up a very nice referential system. So now I would say that everything is known as far as possible about this production of tiles, and she did a superb, great job actually. And big study in archaeology.
I need to send the pictures to her.
To her, okay, great. Voilà, ça c'est juste aussi pour vous donner des possibilités de, voilà, on peut travailler sur des productions comme celle de Séville. Et ça a été un très joli travail de thèse de doctorat donc mené à Barcelone en lien avec l'Université du Pays Basque. Voilà, on était dans le jury il n'y a pas très longtemps.
Additional information
You.
want to add. This tile on the left bottom, right bottom.
The one there?
This
one?
That one. It's straight to Iranian time after 5 centuries after this time, because right now we can see this pattern in Iranian mosque tiles in Shiraz. The mosque is called pink mosque.
So you said that you were exported after?
The pattern is straight because I see...
the pattern itself.
The pattern itself, and in the color and the pattern is straight, I think, to Iran, because we see this pattern in some tile mosque in Shiraz too right now.
Thank you.
It's back to 17th century.
It would be logical if we think about the Muleja influence on Spain at the time. So
of course.
it would be logical.
So a lot of things are circulating, not only the materials, but also the ideas and the drawings.
Pattern, exactly the habit in Iran, in Shiraz, in Finch mosque.
Thank you. Muchas gracias, Javier.